In February 1957, a college student was driving through the wooded outskirts of Philadelphia. Off the side of the road, sitting in the dormant, snow-dusted brush, he noticed a discarded cardboard box. He looked inside to find the body of a young boy, estimating him to be somewhere between 4 and 6 years old. When investigators arrived, they expected a frantic phone call to follow shortly. But days passed. No missing person reports matched the child's description, and no parents ever came forward to claim him. With no name and no family, the victim became known to the public only by the container he was found in. For decades, he would be referred to simply as the boy in the box. When the coroner examined the child, the physical evidence immediately presented a striking contradiction. On one hand, the boy had received recent, deliberate attention. His hair was freshly cut, his fingernails were neatly trimmed, and the autopsy revealed he had eaten a meal just a few hours before he died. On the other hand, his body bore the marks of severe, chronic neglect. He was significantly underweight, covered in bruises, and carried heavy scarring that pointed to a history of prolonged physical abuse. Someone was actively tending to this child's daily needs right up until his death, yet not a single family member or neighbor ever reported him missing. Philadelphia police launched one of the largest manual investigations in the city's history. Detectives fanned out across hospitals and orphanages, while thousands of flyers featuring the boy's fingerprints and photographs were distributed nationwide. Their strongest lead came from the cardboard box itself. It originally held a baby bassinet, sold exclusively by a local department store. Detectives pulled the store's sales records and interviewed employees on the floor, hoping to find the exact buyer, but the paper trail dried up completely. In the absence of hard facts, public theories filled the vacuum. The most compelling story came from a woman known to investigators only as M. She claimed her abusive mother had purchased the boy, tortured him, and accidentally killed him during a punishment, before dumping his body in the woods. Her account included specific details that matched unreleased crime scene evidence, but detectives could never find the physical proof required to verify her story. Without a way to verify those claims, the entire investigation stalled. For 65 years, every lead, from department store records to anonymous confessions, resulted in a dead end. In 2022, investigators reopened the files. This time, they bypassed traditional detective work and relied on modern genetic genealogy. Scientists extracted DNA from preserved 1957 evidence and uploaded the profile, cross-referencing it with vast networks of public family tree databases. By locating distant relatives and tracing overlapping lineages backward, they eliminated dead ends until they isolated the specific branch of the victim's family. Finally, they had an answer. After 6 decades, investigators announced that the child was Joseph Augustus Zarelli, born on January 13, 1953. Preserving the biological evidence from 1957 allowed investigators to bridge the 65-year gap between the discovery and the technology required to identify him. Giving Joseph his name back closed the book on the legend of America's unknown child. Identifying the victim has shifted the objective from learning a name to finding a killer. Authorities are now focused on finding the person who took Joseph Zarelli's life. Investigators are currently digging through family records and interviewing surviving relatives, trying to reconstruct the events leading up to February 1957. To date, they have not publicly identified a single suspect. Even his exact cause of death remains officially unresolved. Modern genetics pulled a child out of anonymity, yet 65 years after he was left in the woods, the search for justice for Joseph Zarelli remains an open question.